Friends, welcome to another episode of Build and Run. This and every episode is brought to you by VRVU.com. That is the one-stop shop for VR, AR, and 360 video production. We are here today with NYC VR University, by far the best Unity meetup community group, developer group, really just a great group of people that also happen to develop Unity, that also happen to love virtual reality, and be inspired by the future of this technology, of VR, AR, 360 video. So this and every other episode you could watch on Build and Run, build-run.com in 360 video to feel like you're really right there, like you were literally sitting in the front row seat to this educational event. And so what we do in Build and Run is every episode we start with the ingredients. We start with this is what we're going to use, and by the end we come out with a virtual reality application. All right, so today we were talking about gaze control. Now, gaze control is the most intuitive, the de facto standard for virtual reality controls. When you're in a virtual reality world, you do not want to be picking up a controller or a joystick or something in a tangible world. You really want to stay immersed in that world and literally use the most primitive tools, the most primitive, most intuitive navigation, the most intuitive kind of control for your environment. And by far the most intuitive is I look at something and I want things to happen to where I look. So if I look here, I want this to happen. And one of the great things about Unity is it allows us to capture where is the user looking. And we capture that through essentially camera.main. And for Cardboard, they actually give us a few more tools. So we're going to use Unity. Unity is the Rolls Royce of virtual reality, of 3D world development. And we're going to use Google Cardboard. And what we have done is we have downloaded Unity and we have downloaded Google Cardboard. Now, with the Google Cardboard comes the standard, right? So the basically the bare bones package, which is the download Cardboard SDK for Unity. Then comes the one with all the options, all of the automatic windows, the power steering, the power brakes, all the good stuff, air conditioning essentially. So we're going to take this one. We're going to take also the Cardboard demo for Unity, where Google Cardboard has actually taken a little more time and added elements of extra coolness to it, right? So we hit this direct link. It's going to download it. I have it already downloaded, but that was a super fast download, so whatever, I can't complain. And I click it, right? Now we're starting with the scene that we had started in the last episode, just because we're going to do something very cool this time. We are, for all of those 360 video enthusiasts, Unity can do basically anything. And one of the things that it can do very well is to make 360 video. And to actually do the 360 video is a little bit more involved than we have time for today, but there will be a session specifically on how to map 360 video onto the inside of a sphere and how to add sound and do this stuff. But what we're going to talk about is scenes. So in Unity, you could break your worlds into scenes the same way you would in a movie, in a film, in a TV, in any kind of video. You would have one scene and you want to transition to another scene. If you transition from scene 1 to scene 2 to scene 3, that's essentially called linear progression. That is fun, I guess, but it could be more fun. You can do what's called like a choose your own adventure. You could take a linear progression and add far more dimension to it. You can literally give the user the choice as to what scene to choose. And they might want to choose 1, 2, 3, whatever. But they have their choice. And that choice is one of the tools of virtual reality. That is one of the ways that you can use these worlds, these tools, to the greatest advantage, to create video that is not just linear, not just this is just the same as any other movie. This is a movie where you are in it. You can look around. You can make decisions. And this is what we're going to teach you here. We're going to teach you how to use Unity's own UI system, how to take the buttons and the canvases and the essentially the architecture that Unity has created for us to make these buttons and these interactive elements. We're going to plop them right there into the 3D world and let you play with them with your Cardboard SDK. So right, we downloaded the Cardboard SDK, We're going to download now the demo scene. The demo scene is basically what Cardboard took their cardboard and they made a little scene out of it, right? So if you look at this, I should save this furniture with whatever. And here we go. Here's the demo scene. So if we take a look at what's happening here, right? This is right. The aliens are taking over. Where is this? Somewhere in here. There's like a legacy thing. I'm pretty sure. Resources. Let's see. No. There is in here something wrong with the audio. I'll just turn it down for now. I'll think of it as we go. Oh, I cannot. Oh well. Hopefully, we'll turn down this volume. All right. So this is the scene. Come on. So funny, this sound. Oh, cool. Maybe this sound's supposed to be here.
Yeah, it's new. They just added.
Is that supposed to be here? Wow, I was trying to shut that off. Excellent. Thank you, brother. So yeah, what this does is it makes it very fun, a lot more fun than I had even imagined. I thought that was a defect, but it is actually a feature and not a flaw. Excellent. And this gives you this menu, right? So Unity with Cardboard SDK demo scene. You already have this menu where you have the restart, recenter, VR mode, and it has this cube that you could mouse over, and you can see this pointer. So it has this this rectangle here, and as I move it over something, it literally changes. It goes from a dot to something a little bigger. So I like that. I like a lot of that cool stuff. And I want to keep it. I want to take it with me. Right? So what I do is I just take the Cardboard main, right, which is the same prefab they put in, but they just add a little more. So if you look in here, they have this reticle here. And it has the script to change the size, and it has this little material to make it look nice. I'm going to just take this whole thing. I'm just going to drop it right in here. Bam. Right? And then I'm going to take this event system. This event system basically, it's created automatically if you put in a canvas. If you start putting in buttons, this will be created automatically. But the one thing this event system has that the one that's created automatically doesn't have is this gaze input module. I could add that myself later, but just because I like drag and drop, right? I'm just going to take a drag and drop. So just take it and drag and drop. And then I'll take this floor canvas, right, which is basically their little menu system, their little bunch of buttons. I'll take that just in case I might want it later. Excellent. And now I'm all set. So I will make a new scene. It's totally blank. I will put in their Cardboard main that I've saved as a prefab. So with prefabs, once I drop it in there as a prefab, I can take it and drop it back out onto my scene as the same prefab. And it is, nobody's the wiser. All of a sudden now we have the Cardboard main that Google has toiled and had thousands of developers working on. Now we just drag and dropped it into our scene. And so right away we already have the reticle. We have the, we could add the floor canvas, but I'm going to add my own canvas. I'm going to drop this event system in here so that when I do drop a canvas, it will automatically use my gaze as a mouse. And now I'm going to create a UI canvas. And then from here I'm going to create a UI panel. And then I could go into this 2D mode, right? So this will give me a little better visualization of what I'm looking at here. And I'm going to, in here, create a UI button, right? And then I'm going to duplicate this button. So I hit Command D, and then I have this button I can move around. So I'll move this button up. All right, and so I go deeper into this button, and I see that a child of this button is the text. So I change the text, and I say Scene 1. I can say like blue pill, red pill, or whatever, but you get the idea. Scene 1. The next one will go into this button, and we will say Scene 2. Excellent. And so now the next thing we need is basically something to change the scenes. So once again, one line of code for this entire thing. It's a line of code. I'm not going to act like it's not a line of code, but it is. You need a little bit of code. And for all of you that fear code, I have been very, very gentle on you today. There is no code. It's for one line. You've written one line of worse things. So one line of code is not going to kill you. And here you go. So you create empty. This is basically just to house our code. We're going to put our code somewhere. We're going to call this empty game object. We're going to call it scene manager. Nice. And I'm going to add component in the same way. If I want to start adding code in here, I just start typing. So I'm going to call it scene controller. I'm going to call it scene controller 2 because I have a scene controller already in here. And that's it. It's going to create it for me. This automatically creates my script for scene controller. And so I'm going to take a look, right? Same thing. Anytime you open up a script, it is this. And I'm going to create just 2 public functions. The public functions means that it should be able to be accessed by other game objects, right? So it doesn't have to be called from within this script. It could be called from other scripts. And the first one we're going to say is public void, and we're going to go to scene 1. Bam, open close parentheses, open close brackets, and that's it. There you go. Public void. Go to scene 2. Bam, bam. There you go. Super easy, right? Now, Unity, the last version of Unity, has introduced a new way of using scenes. It's a little more optimized. So in order to get that to work, we have to add the namespace. So here we go to using the Unity engine and dot scene management. So literally this is going to be all the code we need right here. And then this is what scene manager dot load scene, and I am going to put what scene I need to load, and that is what maze and maze night. Let's go maze. Whoa. Okay, and maze. And basically what I did was just cut and paste it so to make it a little easier. Cool. That's it. Right? So now what we're going to do is we have this canvas, right? If we play this canvas is going to pop up in front of our face. And it's not like we're going to be able to select anything. It's just literally in front of our face. If we move, it's going to be in front of our face. So what we're going to do is go right to this canvas. And you see right here, the first property of this canvas is the render mode. It's set to screen space overlay, which means that it will overlay on top of your screen, which you may or may not want. In this case, we do not want that. We want this canvas to be floating around somewhere in front of us so we can see it and click on it. All we do is click this. It's all clicks. You know, there's very little code. My keyboard is literally getting cobwebs on it because it's all clicks. And we go world space. And there it is. It's floating around somewhere. And what we want to do is probably want to go out of 2D mode so we can see this thing. Let's see where this cardboard main is. Let's see what this canvas is. Whoa. It's cardboard main. So the cardboard main is at position 0, 1, 0. This canvas, for some reason, is at position 325, 164. So what I do here is I hit reset. And this is basically going to move it to where my camera is, right? I don't know how to put number 1 above number 2, but that doesn't really matter, right? I could just take, what's this button? There we go. And we could probably make this pan a little bigger and all that stuff. So, cool. Now, I hit play. Oh, we have 10 minutes left. What are we going to do with all this time, right? I always jinx myself by talking about how much time we have and we never get to finish. Literally, we're supposed to finish this with actually a build and run. This podcast is called Build and Run because at the end of this we hit build and run, which is the last button you press before you launch into virtual reality. It is the button that takes this editing environment and brings it into the Google Cardboard for us. And you see here, you got scene 1 and scene 2. If we click on scene 1, okay. The reason that doesn't do anything, right, is because we're not there yet. So this button is here, but we don't know. It says on click and list is empty, which means that when you click it, I don't know, nothing really happens. So we just take scene manager that we made a little game object that has the script on it, right? In order for me to access that script, I'll just take the scene manager object that has the script on it, I'll drag it right here. And now, this thing is like, oh, look at all these things you have going on in scene manager. And one of these things, right, if I go in here, is go to scene 1. And so I'm on button 1, I want to go to scene 1. And then I'll do the same thing to button 2, or button 1, whatever. The other button. Yeah, so I'll go right here, and I'll hit the little plus to add some functionality to my click. Because really you don't want to click and just be there in outer space, you want to do something. There you go, scene 2. And another thing is I noticed that, actually we'll fix that in a minute. So here you go, so you have, right, scene 1 and scene 2. Click on scene 1. The other error, right? So that when I reference these scenes, it's going to be like, wait a minute, I could take you to that scene, but I haven't really loaded that scene yet. So then we need to add these scenes to the scenes in build, because Unity does a lot of optimization, and some of that optimization is needed to be done before it loads a scene. So now let's try it. Alright, and scene 1. There it is, we're in a maze. Cool. And another thing is I noticed that when the mouse is over this canvas section, it doesn't, this panel, it doesn't, it shows up as if it's like active. So what I want to do is, like this, default. So let's see if that works. So this way, alright, I have scene 1 and scene 2. Bam, and there I am standing on a table in the apartment. Alright? And basically that is how you allow the user in virtual reality to switch scenes. And this is super powerful because you want a game to have a menu, right? The difference between a professional game and an amateur game is it has like the start menu and all this options. This is it. This is how you do it. Literally in less than 20 minutes. We still have some time, so let's build and run. Wow, we have 7 minutes left. We can build and run a few things. So this is how you do it. So you plug in your Android, iOS, whatever phone you have, and you hit, I hit Command B. That's the shortcut because I do this, I build and run so often. I say build and run probably even more than that. Command B. Or you can just go to File, Build and Run. And it says it right there, Command B. So hit build and run. And one of the gotchas, so first thing you have to do if you're building for Android, like I am today, I click Android. And then the one thing you have to do, so very little typing so far, very short little bit of line of code. The other only little bit of typing you have to do is in this other settings, you have to create your bundle identifier. It really, because there's a bunch of apps on your phone, and there's a bunch of apps in the ecosystem, this helps you identify your app as like, this is mine, and nobody can mess with it. So here you go, VR for you. What is this? Gaze control, and that's it. And build and run. So this will automatically compile this and build it for so many different platforms. And this, because we use main camera.main, we it works on a bunch of platforms. It will work, like we just saw, on the HoloLens. It will work on Samsung VR. It will work on Vive. It will work on PlayStation because we use the lowest level default controls essentially. So we're going to call this something. We're going to call it Gaze. This is essentially the name of the package, the Android package that it'll export to APK. So when you go to publish in the Android Play Store, Google Play, you will need that APK. And that's what I just named. It said, what do you want to call that thing? And I said, Gaze. Doesn't really matter. You can call it anything you want. Yeah, and that's literally how we can in an episode of Kardashians in less than an hour, we have showed how we can move in virtual 3D space, how we can control not just our surroundings, but switch from one world to the other. We can switch from a maze to an apartment to anything, and most importantly, give the player this control. It's not just us controlling this from the keyboard. This is, when this builds, this is allowing the player to use their own head, their own intention to explore this 3D space. We couldn't have done this without Unity. Unity is the foremost tool for creating 3D environments, 3D spaces that are complete with audio, video, physics, everything you would ever want. It's limited only by your imagination. Literally, if you say, hey, I want a purple hippopotamus to fly from the sky, you can make that happen in Unity. It's absolutely true. It's absolutely real. And there's these tools that we have for free right now are, I mean, yes, the monetary value of Unity is over $1,000 a year, but the real intrinsic value of these tools, of being able to create from a void, from a black void, anything and everything we want, and then to allow the user to say, hey, I want to look at that, and I want to go here, and I want to do that, is what God would do. This is what God is, you know. And the beauty of Unity is they include a skybox, so it's not incredibly lonely. You're not like popped into a black void. There's this little skybox. You can see a little edge of it here while it's building, right? This little horizon line. Without that, you are literally in outer space with nothing but time. And then with this tool, you can create everything. You can create intelligence. You can create geometry. You can create sound. You can create the interaction, and then you can, after you've done that, or even while you're doing that, you can put people in it and say, look, this is what I'm creating out of the void. The way a God would. The way you would do if you had unlimited space and unlimited time. You know, so this power, this free software that Unity gives us is way more than free. It is enabling us to be creators in the future. Because in the future, what I'm hoping to do is empower all of you to create, to make worlds that we can all explore. We can explore each other's worlds and essentially explore each other's minds. Because what you create with your immense powers of Unity is only limited by your imagination, only limited by your mind. And you will most likely create the things that you like. So I make a lot of fun games and apps. Some of them are serious, actually, so not all of them are fun. But I like to have fun even while I'm making the serious ones. And my name is Lex, and this has been an episode of Build and Run. This and every other episode is brought to you by VRVU.com. Full service VR production. This is VR production that, first of all, has time for you. Second of all, has the skills and resources to get your project done. And will hold your hand through the whole process like a good full service agency should. And that's VRVU.com. And you have just joined us for a monumental session of NYC VR University. We have many announcements to come, and this is just the beginning. So thank you for joining us. This is going to load and build, and hopefully we'll have time before the video shuts off. We are limited only by the technology of today. Soon this will be comical that the video only runs for 25 minutes and is blurry. We'll be like, oh, I'm shooting video out of my forehead. That's better. And now this is what we have. And eventually it's all going to get better, but the tools will remain the same. You will use Unity for making HoloLens, PlayStation VR, Vive, Google Tango, everything that will ever come out in virtual reality. Unity will be the tool that is used to make that. So thank you all for joining us and learning Unity and waiting through the build and run process, which sometimes takes longer. But then again, The time is over. Thank you all.